I thought coming home would mean warmth, stories, and his arms around me. Instead, I found my suitcase on the curb and a 5-word note that shattered everything. No calls, no warning, just a locked door and a new woman in my place. He didn't just break my heart, he planned it. And that was only the beginning. Stories like this aren't easy to hear, but they are even harder to live through. Stay with me till the end. You won't forget what happened next. I stepped off the bus, a smile playing on my lips. 3 months of backpacking through Southeast Asia had changed me. I felt lighter, more alive, ready to share it all with Liam, my boyfriend of 5 years. He was supposed to meet me at the station, but I figured he was just running late. As I walked the familiar blocks to our apartment, a knot tightened in my stomach. Something was off. Our apartment building loomed ahead, but instead of the warm glow of home, I saw my luggage, my worn backpack, my old suitcase, piled haphazardly on the sidewalk. My heart hammered against my ribs. A small, crumpled note was taped to the top of my duffel bag. My hands trembled as I picked it up. If you want to stay here, you can't. No name, just those 5 brutal words. It was Liam's handwriting. My breath hitched. He had changed the locks. My mind reeled. What did this mean? Had he found someone else? Was this some cruel joke? I felt a wave of nausea, the world spinning around me. This wasn't how my homecoming was supposed to be. I pulled out my phone, my fingers fumbling as I tried to call him. It went straight to voicemail. Hey, it's me. I'm outside. What's going on? I mumbled into the phone, my voice already shaking. Liam, please, call me back. Why are my bags out here? I called again, and again, but nothing. Just the cold, automated voice of a machine. My eyes stung. The streetlights flickered on, casting long shadows, and suddenly, I felt very, very alone. My phone buzzed, vibrating violently in my hand. It was Chloe, my best friend. Hey, you back yet? How was the trip? She chirped, her voice full of excitement. I tried to speak, but only a choked sob escaped. Chloe, I croaked, my throat tight. I don't know what's happening. Maya? What's wrong? You sound awful. Her cheerful tone vanished, replaced by instant concern. I'm at the apartment. I managed to say, tears finally spilling down my cheeks. My bags are on the sidewalk. And there's a note. From Liam. A note? What did it say? She asked, her voice growing sharper with worry. It just says, if you want to stay here, you can't. He changed the locks, Chloe. He just kicked me out. My voice cracked on the last words. A stunned silence hung between us for a moment. Then, Chloe's voice came through, laced with disbelief and fury. He did what? That monster, she seethed. Are you serious? No way. This isn't like him. I don't know. I can't reach him. He's not answering. My phone battery's almost dead. I sniffled, wiping my nose with the back of my hand. The cold air was starting to bite. Don't move. Don't you dare move from that spot, she commanded, her tone firm. I'm coming to get you. I'll be there in 20 minutes, tops. Just hold on, okay? I'm on my way. Okay, I whispered, clutching the phone tightly, even though the call had already ended. I sat on my suitcase, pulling my thin jacket tighter around me. The street noise, usually comforting, felt alien now. Every passing car seemed to mock me. Was this a nightmare? Would I wake up in my bed, Liam beside me, laughing about a bad dream? No, the cold concrete beneath me, the familiar yet suddenly hostile building, told me this was real. Liam. My Liam. How could he do this? What did I do wrong? Was it the trip? Did I spend too long away? My mind raced, trying to find an explanation, a reason, but came up empty. He was always so sweet, so understanding. This was so unlike him. Or was it? Had I just been blind? I thought about our future plans, the dreams we'd shared, a small house, maybe a dog, lazy Sundays. Now, those dreams felt like cruel jokes, dissolving into the cold night air. The reality of my homelessness, my complete lack of a plan, began to sink in, heavy and suffocating. Every breath felt like a struggle. Panicked and with nowhere to go, I sat on the curb, my mind a blank canvas of shock and confusion. Tears streamed down my face. My phone buzzed again, lighting up the dim street. It was Chloe, my best friend from college. My stomach clenched. How could I tell her this? Hey, you back yet? How was the trip? She asked, her voice cheerful, unaware of the chaos my life had become. I tried to speak, but only a choked sob escaped. Chloe, I croaked, my voice rough. I don't know what's happening. Maya? What's going on? You sound awful. Where are you? Her tone sharpened with concern. I'm at the apartment, I managed to say, the words catching in my throat. My bags are on the sidewalk. He changed the locks. Liam. He did what? Her voice shot up, laced with pure disbelief. That monster. Are you serious right now, Maya? I found a note. Just. If you want to stay here, you can't. No name. But it's his handwriting, I explained, my voice cracking with each word. The humiliation was a hot flush on my cheeks. A note? After 5 years? This is insane. Did you call him? She demanded, her outrage palpable even over the phone. Yeah, I called. Like, 5 times. Straight to voicemail. I don't know what to do, Chloe. I have nowhere to go. My voice broke. The weight of my situation was crushing. Don't move. Don't you dare move from that spot, she commanded, her tone firm, leaving no room for argument. I'm coming to get you. I'll be there in 20 minutes, tops. Just hold on, okay? I'm on my way. Okay, I whispered, relief washing over me, despite the despair. At least I wasn't completely alone. True to her word, within 20 minutes, Chloe's beat-up car screeched to a halt beside me. She jumped out, her face etched with concern, her eyes scanning me up and down. Oh, Maya, she whispered, and then she was enveloping me in a tight hug. Her arms felt like a lifeline. It's going to be okay, I promise, she murmured, stroking my hair. Let's get these bags in the car. You must be freezing. I just nodded, too numb to form a coherent thought. She helped me load my worn backpack and old suitcase into her tiny back seat, then ushered me into the passenger side. The silence in the car was thick with unspoken questions. We pulled up to her apartment building, a small, unassuming place that always smelled faintly of old books and art supplies. Her apartment, though tiny, was usually a comforting mess. Tonight, it felt like a sanctuary. She led me inside. Make yourself comfortable, she said, gesturing to her couch. It was piled high with cushions and a soft, knitted blanket. I'm going to make you some tea. Herbal. You need to warm up. I sank onto the couch, the cushions enveloping me. Chloe moved around her small kitchen, the clinking of mugs and spoons a soothing sound. She returned with 2 steaming cups. Here, she said, handing me one. Drink this. It'll help. I took a tentative sip. It was chamomile, sweet and calming. Thank you, Chloe, I managed to say, my voice still raw. She sat beside me, wrapping her own hands around her mug. He's a coward, Maya, she said, her eyes blazing with protective anger. A complete and utter coward. Kicking you out like that, with a note? After everything? You don't deserve this. Not after all you gave him. I just nodded, too numb to argue. My mind was a tangled mess. I don't understand, I murmured, staring into my tea. 5 years, Chloe. 5 years. And he just threw me out like trash. There's no understanding it, Maya. Some people are just awful. And he's proven he's one of them, she insisted, her voice firm. But you're here now. You're safe. We'll figure this out, okay? One step at a time. But why? I pressed, the question a desperate plea. Was it me? Did I do something wrong on the trip? Chloe reached out and squeezed my hand. No. Don't you dare think that. This has nothing to do with you, Maya. This is all on him. He's the one who screwed up, not you. He's a monster, plain and simple. I don't know where to start, I admitted, feeling completely lost. My job, my apartment, my life. It's all just gone. It's not gone, it's just changed, Chloe said, her voice softer now, but still resolute. You're strong, Maya. Stronger than you think. And I'm here. We'll face it together. You can stay here as long as you need. Seriously. My couch is always open. Later that night, Curled up on Chloe's couch, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling, I replayed every memory of Liam, searching for a sign, a clue, anything that could have predicted this.
Had I been so blind?
I thought about our future plans, the dreams we'd shared, now shattered into a million pieces. The reality of my homelessness, my complete lack of a plan, began to sink in, heavy and suffocating. Every breath felt like a struggle, each one a sharp reminder of how suddenly my world had turned upside down.
You can't just sit here, Maya. You need answers.
And your things, Chloe insisted the next morning, her jaw set with a determination I wished I had.
My stomach churned with dread. I don't know, Chloe.
What if he calls the police? Or just yells? Let him yell, she scoffed, already pulling her car keys from her bag.
You have every right to be there. And I'm coming with you.
He won't try anything with me there.
A small, stubborn part of me knew she was right.
I couldn't hide forever.
I had to face this.
Okay, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Let's go.
The drive felt endless. Every block brought more anxiety.
As we approached the building, my breath hitched. A familiar figure emerged from the entrance, Sarah, Liam's younger sister. I'd always gotten along with her, even considered her a friend. Her eyes widened in surprise when she saw me, and then a flicker of guilt, quick as a blink, crossed her face. Maya, she stammered, avoiding my gaze, her cheeks flushing. I'm so sorry. Before I could question her, Liam appeared behind her, stepping out of the building. His face was a mask of cold indifference, his eyes completely devoid of the warmth I'd known for years. My heart ached at his callousness. What are you doing here? He demanded, his voice flat, like he was talking to a stranger.
My fists clenched. What am I doing here?
What are you doing, Liam? I retorted, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and hurt. 5 years, and this is how you end it?
A note on the sidewalk?
You couldn't even tell me to my face. He sighed, running a hand through his hair, as if I was the inconvenience. It's over, Maya.
I don't love you anymore.
It's that simple. Simple? Chloe interjected, stepping forward, her eyes narrowing. You abandon her, change the locks, leave a pathetic note, and you call it simple. Liam ignored her, his gaze fixed on me. I've met someone else.
My world tilted. My stomach dropped.
Someone else?
Who? The words felt hollow as I spoke them.
I searched his face for any sign of remorse, but found none. He hesitated, then a blonde woman stepped out from behind him, looking incredibly uncomfortable.
Her eyes darted between Liam and me.
It was Olivia, a new intern from his office. I'd met her once, briefly.
Chloe gasped beside me. You cheated on her, Liam? While she was gone.
While she was traveling, trying to find herself, you were here, with her. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the heavy air. Liam just shrugged, a dismissive gesture that ignited a fresh wave of fury in me.
It happened.
It's done. Look, Maya, this isn't easy for me either. Not easy for you. I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. I'm the one standing on the street with nowhere to go because you couldn't even be a decent human being and end things properly. You think this is hard for you.
Olivia finally spoke, her voice timid.
Liam, maybe we should just go inside.
No.
I snapped, my eyes blazing at her.
He needs to explain this. He owes me that much. I turned back to Liam. What about our savings? What about all our plans?
You just decided to erase 5 years of my life with a note and a new girlfriend. The savings, that's handled, Liam mumbled, suddenly avoiding my gaze. Sarah shifted uncomfortably beside him.
Handled?
What does that even mean? I demanded, a new fear creeping into my chest.
Is that why you didn't want to talk?
Because you stole my money too. Don't be dramatic, Maya, he said, though his voice lacked its usual confidence.
I needed some of it.
It'll be fine.
Fine?
How is any of this fine?
Chloe spat, stepping right up to him. You absolute piece of trash.
How dare you do this to her?
Liam's jaw tightened.
Look, I just want this to be over.
You can come in and get your other things. Quickly. Then leave.
I stared at him, at the stranger standing before me. The man I loved, the man I trusted, was gone. Replaced by this cold, calculating liar. The sheer audacity, the complete lack of remorse, twisted a knife in my gut. This wasn't just heartbreak. It was a profound betrayal, a desecration of everything we'd built. My tears had dried, replaced by a cold resolve that began to harden within me. "Fine," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "I'll get my things.
And then I'll be gone.
But don't think for a second this is over, Liam."
He flinched slightly at my tone.
Olivia looked even more uneasy.
Sarah wouldn't meet my eyes.
As I walked past him into the apartment I once called home, I felt a chilling clarity. This wasn't just about my broken heart anymore.
This was about something much more.
The confrontation ended with me grabbing a few more essentials, Liam surprisingly cooperative once Olivia was there. I didn't want to make a scene in front of her, even though a part of me screamed to expose him right then and there. Back at Chloe's, the initial shock began to fade, replaced by a burning, unfamiliar anger that felt cold and sharp. "I can't believe he did this," I muttered, pacing Chloe's small living room, my voice tight. He just threw me away. Like I was nothing." Chloe listened patiently, her arms crossed, her expression grim.
"He's a coward, Maya."
A self-serving, pathetic excuse for a man.
"But why?"
I gripped my head, trying to make sense of it. After everything?
5 years. Was it all a lie?
"It doesn't matter, Maya," Chloe said, her voice firm.
"His reasons are his problem. Your problem is what to do next. You have every right to be furious. You have every right to fight back."
Her words sparked something in me.
Fight back.
Yes.
That felt right.
The grief was still there, a dull ache, but it was overshadowed by a fierce resolve.
I wasn't going to let him get away with this.
"I need to know my rights," I said, stopping my pacing. "He can't just kick me out like that, can he? Not with a note. Not without notice." "No, he can't," Chloe confirmed, nodding slowly. "That's definitely not legal.
We need to talk to someone.
Someone who knows the law." I spent hours online in the days that followed, hunched over Chloe's laptop, researching legal options, tenancy rights, anything that could give me some leverage. I learned that Liam had indeed violated the terms of our verbal agreement by kicking me out without proper notice. It wasn't a formal lease, but we had lived there together for years.
Then, a new, sickening thought began to form. I remembered something.
"Chloe," I called out from the living room, "do you remember how Liam was acting weird about money a few months ago?"
Chloe walked in, a mug in her hand. "Weird how?"
"More than his usual I'm broke routine."
"No, different."
"He was always checking his phone, looking stressed. And he kept saying we needed to be careful with money, even though we had a good chunk saved up. Our joint account."
My heart pounded.
I thought it was just pre-trip jitters.
A cold dread settled in my stomach.
I opened our old shared bank account, the one we'd set up for our future. I scrolled through the transactions, my eyes widening with each entry.
Large withdrawals. Increasingly large.
In the months leading up to my trip, there were dozens of them. Big ones. My breath hitched. He hadn't just replaced me, he had planned this.
He had drained our joint savings.
"Oh my God, Chloe," I whispered, pointing at the screen.
"Look at this. He's been taking money. Huge amounts. 4 months.
While I was gone, but even before." Chloe peered over my shoulder, her eyes tracing the numbers.
Her jaw dropped. "No way. That greedy snake.
"He cleaned you out, Maya. This isn't just about him being a terrible boyfriend. This is theft." A dark suspicion, cold and sharp, solidified in my mind.
He hadn't just replaced me.
He had used me, used our savings, and then discarded me. My anger, which had been simmering, erupted into a quiet, burning fury. This wasn't just heartbreak, this was grand theft. This wasn't just personal, it was criminal. "He's going to pay for this," I said, my voice low and steady, a stark contrast to the storm raging inside me. "Every single penny." "You're right," Chloe agreed, her expression mirroring my resolve.
"We need to get serious about this."
"My brother, Mark, he's a lawyer. A young one, but he's smart. He'll know what to do." The next day, Chloe introduced me to Mark. He was younger than I expected, with kind eyes, but a serious demeanor.
We met at a quiet coffee shop.
I laid out everything. The note, Liam's coldness, Olivia, and finally, the damning bank statements. Mark listened intently, his brow furrowed, occasionally jotting notes. "This is messy, Maya," he admitted, finally leaning back in his chair.
"But it's not hopeless.
"There might be a case for unjust enrichment, definitely. And with the emotional distress and the way he kicked you out, there are angles. Especially with the money." A flicker of hope, small but persistent, ignited within me amidst the despair. This wasn't just about Liam anymore. It was about justice. I wasn't going to just lie down and take this. I was going to fight.
"What do we do?"
I asked, my voice firmer than it had been in days.
"I want him to pay for what he did. For all of it."
Mark nodded, taking a sip of his coffee. "First, we gather every piece of evidence. Bank statements, messages, anything that proves your shared history, your contributions, his actions.
We build a solid case.
And then, we hit him where it hurts." I felt a surge of cold determination. Liam thought he could just discard me, steal from me, and walk away clean.
He was wrong.
Very wrong. With Mark's guidance, I started piecing together Liam's whole nasty scheme.
He told me to gather everything.
Every text, every photo, every bank statement. "It all helps build the story, Maya," he'd said, his voice calm but serious. I spent hours poring over old documents, digital files. It felt like sifting through the wreckage of my own life. We pulled up every bank statement from our joint account. The withdrawals were glaring, impossible to ignore. They weren't just big, they were frequent. And they coincided exactly with the times Liam had been acting most stressed, most secretive. My stomach twisted with each new discovery. He was gambling, Mark stated one afternoon, after reviewing a batch of suspicious transactions I'd flagged. "These payments, they look like online betting sites. And the amounts are too regular to be anything else."
My jaw dropped. Gambling? Liam? He never said a word.
Not a single word.
The man I thought I knew was a complete stranger. It hit me hard.
He wasn't just deceitful. He was living a double life. "People hide things, Maya," Mark said, leaning back in his chair.
"Especially when they are in deep. And these look pretty deep."
The pieces started clicking into place. The financial worries, the strange moods, his insistence on me taking that long trip.
It all made a sickening kind of sense now.
He'd used my absence as a cover to drain the account completely, probably to pay off debts, and then replace me with Olivia, who I later found out was from a wealthy family. He was hoping to latch onto her money, I realized, a fresh wave of disgust washing over me. He hadn't just replaced me, he had planned this whole elaborate betrayal. My anger solidified into a quiet, cold determination. This wasn't just about my broken heart anymore.
This was about justice.
This was about exposing Liam for the calculating liar and thief he truly was. "What else can we find?"
I asked Mark, my voice tight with resolve.
"There has to be more. He didn't just become this person overnight. Sometimes, people leave digital breadcrumbs," Mark suggested. "Old hard drives, cloud storage, anything he might have forgotten about." That evening, back at Chloe's, I dug out my old laptop. It was slow, barely working, but I started sifting through old files. Photos of Liam and me flashed across the screen, making my chest ache.
But I pushed past them, looking for anything out of place. And then I found it.
A hidden folder, buried deep in an obscure directory. It was labeled simply, Docs.
My fingers trembled as I clicked on it. Inside, there were a series of encrypted messages.
I had to use an old decryption tool I vaguely remembered Liam mentioning once. It took me nearly an hour, but finally, the messages appeared, line by line.
My blood ran cold.
The messages were between Liam and a shadowy figure he referred to only as the broker. They weren't about gambling debts directly, not in the way I understood them. They were about investments, returns, and huge sums of money. But the tone, it was threatening. "The payment is due, Liam. Don't make me come looking.
I need more time.
The deal is almost done.
Time is money.
You miss this deadline, your collateral is forfeit."
Collateral?
What collateral? And then, a message that made my stomach lurch. "Your little trip is the perfect cover. Just make sure the funds are ready when she gets back." My breath hitched. My trip. My supposedly life-changing, adventurous trip. It had all been part of his plan. He wanted me out of the way while he pulled off whatever shady deal this was. And the funds, he was talking about our funds. My funds. "Chloe!" I yelled, my voice a strangled whisper. She rushed in from her bedroom, alarm on her face.
What?
What is it?
I spun the laptop around, pointing at the screen. Look at this. He's not just gambling. He's involved with, I don't know, loan sharks? Something worse.
And my trip, it was a cover. Chloe read the messages, her face paling.
The broker? What is this, some kind of movie?
Maya, this is serious. He's in deep. He's using my money, Chloe. He planned all of this, I said, my voice barely audible, the words catching in my throat. This wasn't just personal anymore, it was dangerous. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the outside temperature. Liam wasn't just a cheat, he was entangled in something far more sinister.
And I had stumbled right into it.
As Liam's financial house of cards began to crumble, the whispers started. I heard bits and pieces from mutual friends, hushed conversations about him being stressed at work, about his difficulties. It felt like a slow-motion car crash, playing out in snippets of gossip. Did you hear about Liam? Sarah, his sister, texted me out of the blue a few weeks after I found those disturbing messages. He's really not doing well.
My heart gave a little jump.
I hadn't heard from her since that day at the apartment. What do you mean, Sarah? I typed back, trying to sound casual.
He got demoted at work, she replied.
And I overheard him on the phone, yelling about money. He sounded really desperate. Desperate? I asked, a tight knot forming in my stomach.
Yeah. Like, super desperate.
And he and Olivia, they are fighting all the time. She actually moved out for a few days last week, but then came back. She's not happy. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and something else, something heavier. This wasn't the sweet taste of victory I'd imagined. It was just consequences. Later that week, Chloe called me, practically buzzing with news.
You will not believe what I just heard.
My cousin works at Liam's old bank, and she said he's been trying to get a huge loan, but they keep turning him down. Apparently, his credit score is trashed.
Trashed?
I repeated, a small smile touching my lips.
Beyond trashed.
And get this, Olivia's family. Apparently, they are not thrilled with him. Her dad pulled some strings at her job to get her out of that internship. Said Liam was a bad influence. Chloe giggled, a triumphant sound. Karma, baby. I couldn't help but feel a flicker of grim satisfaction. His new relationship with Olivia, initially a display of triumph, was clearly showing cracks. She was used to a certain lifestyle, and Liam, with his mounting debts and erratic behavior, couldn't keep up the facade. Sarah's call, Chloe's news, it all confirmed my suspicions. The broker was clearly a loan shark, and they were closing in. Mac, I said to him during our next meeting, I have some new information. Liam's having serious money problems. And Olivia's family is on to him. Mark listened, nodding slowly. Good. The more pressure he feels, the better. It adds weight to our position. I also found something else, I said, a little hesitantly. Those messages with the broker. It sounds like some really serious, illegal stuff. Threats, collateral.
Mark's eyes widened. Illegal? Maya, if he's involved in something like that, it changes things. It makes him desperate.
And dangerous. We need to be careful with that information. I know, I said, my voice low. But what if Olivia's family knew? They wouldn't want her involved with someone like that. A new idea, cold and precise, began to form in my mind. I decided to use the information carefully. Mark advised caution, urging me not to directly involve myself in anything that could put me at risk.
But I knew I had to act.
I couldn't stand by and watch him potentially ensnare Olivia in his mess, or worse, get away with everything. I spent an entire afternoon creating an anonymous email account. Then, I painstakingly compiled a package of key documents. Not just the bank statements, but carefully chosen snippets from those encrypted messages with the broker. I removed any trace of my own name, my connection. I framed it as a concerned party who had stumbled upon disturbing information. I included evidence of his gambling, the suspicious withdrawals, and the veiled threats from his shadowy contacts. I wanted Olivia to see the true nature of the man she had chosen, not to get revenge on her, but to ensure Liam faced consequences on multiple fronts. I didn't want him to escape unscathed. This is risky, Maya,
Mark had warned when I explained my plan.
If they trace it back to you. They won't, I assured him, my voice firm.
I've been careful.
And I need him to face what he's done. All of it. I sent the email to Olivia's family, using a public Wi-Fi spot across town. I clicked send, and felt a rush of both fear and satisfaction. The silence that followed was deafening, but I knew the seeds of his downfall had been sown. I had pressed the button. Now, I just had to wait for the explosion. The explosion came swiftly. It wasn't a bang, but more of a quiet implosion that rippled through our shared social circles. Chloe called me, her voice hushed, but with a definite note of satisfaction. You won't believe it, Maya, she whispered into the phone. Olivia's family, they've completely cut Liam off. Apparently, they found out about his gambling issues and then some. I heard her dad practically disowned him. My stomach clenched, but it wasn't fear. It was something else.
A cold, hard confirmation.
And Olivia? I asked, my voice flat. She's gone, Chloe confirmed.
Moved back home.
Deleted all her social media.
Sources say she was heartbroken and humiliated.
Apparently, he even tried to borrow money from a family, and that was the last straw. Liam's carefully constructed life began to unravel.
He lost his job.
I heard it from an old colleague of his, who actually felt sorry for him. He just wasn't himself, the colleague had said. Always distracted, always stressed. And then the rumors started flying, about money, about his personal life. His creditors, no longer held at bay by Olivia's family connections, started closing in. I heard rumors of his increasing desperation, of him selling off his possessions, his fancy watch, his limited edition sneakers, anything to scrape together cash. Whispers of him being harassed by shadowy figures grew louder.
The broker was clearly collecting.
I felt a strange mix of emotions. Satisfaction, yes. This was what I had worked for, what I had wanted.
But also, emptiness.
This wasn't the sweet victory I'd imagined. It was a cold, hard consequence, and it felt bleak. Then, one rainy evening, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated, my heart thumping, before answering.
Hello,
I said cautiously. Maya. A desperate, broken voice spoke my name.
My blood ran cold. It was Liam. But not the Liam I knew.
This voice was hoarse, defeated. Liam. I managed, disbelief coloring my tone. Why are you calling me? I messed up, Maya, he pleaded, his voice cracking. I'm so sorry. Everything. I lost everything. My job, Olivia, my apartment, everything. Please, you have to help me. I gripped the phone tighter, pressing it to my ear, listening to the unraveling of the man who had destroyed my life. He detailed his spiraling debts, the increasingly violent threats from the loan sharks. He was utterly broken, a shadow of the arrogant man who had so carelessly discarded me. Help you? I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping me.
You threw me out onto the street, Liam.
With a note.
You stole my money. You cheated on me.
Why on earth would I help you? I know, he choked out, his voice thick with what sounded like genuine despair. I know I was a monster. I was stupid, Maya. I got in too deep with the wrong people.
I thought I could fix it.
And then Olivia. I just thought her family would help. So you used her too, I stated, the realization solidifying. He wasn't just pathetic, he was utterly manipulative, even now.
I didn't mean to.
I was desperate. I am desperate. They are going to hurt me, Maya. They are going to come for me.
Please. You're the only one who knows. The only one who can help me. I'll pay you back. Every single penny.
I swear.
He was utterly broken.
Pathetic. A part of me, the part that had fueled my revenge, felt a surge of triumph. This was it. This was my chance, my moment for true, ultimate revenge. I could let him drown. I could watch him suffer.
And he deserved it. He deserved every single bit of it.
But as I listened to his pathetic pleas, to the raw desperation in his voice, a different feeling began to surface. Pity. Not for him, not for the choices he'd made, but for the utterly pathetic, broken shell of a person he had become. The betrayal still stung, a deep, aching wound, but the all-consuming desire for his ruin had started to dull, replaced by a strange, unsettling quietness. I hung up on Liam, my hand trembling, the phone feeling heavy and cold.
His broken voice still echoed in my ears.
I just stood there in the middle of Chloe's living room, staring blankly at the wall, seeing nothing but his desperate face in my mind. Chloe walked in from her art nook, paint on her cheek, a worried frown on her face.
What's wrong, Maya? Who was that?
You look like you've seen a ghost. It was Liam, I managed to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. Chloe's expression immediately hardened.
That jerk. What did he want?
Did he try to harass you? No, I said, shaking my head slowly. His completely ruined, Chloe.
He lost everything.
His job, Olivia, his apartment.
His begging for help.
His afraid of the people he owes money to.
Chloe's eyes narrowed, but there was no pity in them.
Good, she said simply, her voice like steel.
He deserves it. Every last bit of it.
After what he did to you. A part of me, the angry, hurt part, agreed with her. Yes, he did deserve it.
He deserved to feel every ounce of pain and fear he had inflicted on me.
But as I stood there, the satisfaction I expected to feel was strangely absent.
Instead, there was just a hollowness.
I don't know, I confessed, my voice weak.
Hearing him like that, he sounded so pathetic.
So completely broken. His playing you, Maya, Chloe warned, stepping closer, her hand gently touching my arm.
Don't fall for it. He's a manipulator.
He did this to himself. I know he did, I said, pulling away slightly, pacing a few steps. But what does it get me, Chloe?
To see him completely destroyed? Will that actually fix anything for me? Will it make the past 5 years disappear?
Will it bring back my trust? The questions hung in the air between us. I had spent so much energy on him, on his downfall.
Was this truly the life I wanted?
To be consumed by anger and bitterness, even if it meant seeing him suffer?
The next day, I talked to Mark.
I told him about Liam's call, about his desperation, about the threats he was receiving. This sounds like he's genuinely in deep trouble, Mark observed, his expression serious. Legally, Maya, you still have options. You could push for a full settlement for the money he took, plus damages. Get everything back, and then some. You could even pursue charges, given the level of debt and the threats from the broker. But what about my peace of mind? I asked, looking him directly in the eye. What's the best choice for me? Not for what he deserves. Mark paused, considering his words carefully. That's a different question, Maya. Pushing for everything, dragging this out, it could mean years of legal battles, of being tied to him, to this mess.
It would be emotionally exhausting.
It would keep you focused on him, on revenge.
He was right.
I had focused so intensely on making him pay that I hadn't considered what that payment truly meant for me.
It meant more time, more energy, more anger.
Or, Mark continued, you could choose to get what's rightfully yours, the money he stole, and then walk away.
Cut ties completely. Let his karma be his to deal with.
Focus on your own healing, your own future. That might be the better choice for your peace of mind.
His words resonated deep within me.
I had been so focused on external justice, on making Liam suffer, that I had forgotten about my own internal peace.
The realization hit me with a quiet force.
My own transformation, my own healing, depended on a different path.
It wasn't about what he deserved, it was about what I needed.
I needed closure, yes, but not through his suffering. I needed to move on, to build a new life, unburdened by his shadows. The weight of choice pressed down on me, heavy and significant. This wasn't just about Liam anymore, it was about the kind of person I wanted to become. In the end, I chose not to pursue the full legal extent of my case against Liam. The thought of more court dates, more arguments, more reliving the betrayal, it just felt too heavy. I instructed Mark to send him a formal notice for the money he'd stolen from our joint account, demanding a repayment plan. But I didn't push for additional damages, or for him to face criminal charges for the shadowy broker dealings. I didn't want his complete destruction on my conscience. Chloe was, understandably, confused.
Even a little angry.
You're letting him off the hook, Maya? She asked, her voice laced with disbelief, sitting across from me at her tiny kitchen table. After everything he did? The cheating, the money, leaving you on the street. No, I explained, stirring my tea slowly. I'm letting myself off the hook, Chloe.
His karma is his to carry. Mine is to heal and move forward. What would pushing for more do for me, really?
Keep me stuck in anger. She stared at me, a thoughtful expression on her face. I guess. I just thought you'd want to see him burn. I did, I admitted, a raw honesty in my voice. For a long time, that's all I could think about. But then I heard him, Chloe.
He was so broken.
And seeing him like that, it wasn't satisfying.
It was just sad.
For him, for what he became. It was a difficult decision, choosing to step away from the ultimate revenge, but it felt right. It felt like I was reclaiming my own peace, rather than letting his actions dictate my future.
I started focusing on myself. Truly focusing.
I took a part-time job at a small local bookstore, surrounded by the comforting scent of paper and ink. It was a simple job, but it gave me a routine and some much-needed income. How are you doing with the new job? Chloe asked one evening, as we cooked dinner together.
It's good, I replied, genuinely. Quiet. And I actually like talking to people about books.
It's peaceful. Then, I decided to do something I'd always put off. I signed up for evening classes, I told her one night.
Oh? For what? She asked, her eyebrows raised.
Graphic design, I said, a smile finally reaching my eyes.
Remember how I always wanted to learn that?
And I kept putting it off.
Chloe beamed.
That's amazing, Maya. That's actually amazing. You're finally doing something for you.
And I was.
The classes were challenging, but exciting. I poured all my creative energy into them, losing myself in colors and fonts and layouts. It was a welcome distraction from the lingering pain, a way to channel my emotions into something productive. I also started volunteering at an animal shelter on weekends. Being around the innocent, affectionate animals was incredibly therapeutic. It was a simple act of kindness that filled me with a warmth I hadn't felt in months. My focus shifted entirely from Liam's unraveling to my own rebuilding. I found solace in creating, in helping others, in learning new things. I spent less time dwelling on the past and more time planning for the future. I even started dating again, cautiously at first, a few coffee meetups here and there. It was strange, terrifying, but also, surprisingly, hopeful. I learned to trust my instincts, to value my worth, to speak up for what I wanted and deserved. I realized that my value wasn't tied to a relationship or to anyone else's opinion of me. It was inherent. You seem different, Chloe observed one day, a soft smile on her face.
Lighter.
Like the old Maya, but stronger.
I feel it, I confessed. Like I'm finally breathing properly again. For myself.
The betrayal still stung, a deep, persistent ache, but it no longer consumed me. It was a part of my story, a painful chapter, but not the whole book. I was writing a new one now. Months later, the air was crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves. I was walking through a park, enjoying the autumn sun, when I saw him.
Liam.
He was sitting on a bench, hunched over, looking thin and defeated. His clothes were disheveled, and he seemed smaller, somehow. He saw me, and for a moment, his eyes held a flicker of recognition, then something akin to shame. He looked away quickly, shrinking into himself, trying to blend into the shadows under the trees. I felt no anger, no triumph. Just a quiet acceptance. He was facing his consequences. His life had unraveled, just as mine had, but mine was weaving itself back together. His, it seemed, was still in tatters. I just kept walking, my pace steady, not looking back. There was nothing left there for me. My own life felt entirely different now. I had moved into my own small apartment. It wasn't huge, but it was mine. I'd decorated it simply, with pieces I loved, and even hung some of my own graphic design prints on the walls. It felt like a fresh start, a space filled with my own independence and quiet joy. My part-time job at the bookstore was going well, and my graphic design portfolio was growing steadily. I was even getting freelance clients, small projects at first, but they were building up. Just last week, I'd landed a commission for a local cafe's new menu. It felt amazing to create something tangible, something that was entirely my own work. Your designs are really getting good, Maya, Chloe had told me just the other day, looking at my latest project. Seriously, you found your thing. I think so too, I'd replied, a genuine smile on my face. Our relationship was stronger than ever, built on shared experiences and unwavering support. She had been my rock through everything, and I valued her more than words could say. I had even started dating properly. It was still new, and I was cautious, but it was good. I'd met Ben through my volunteering at the animal shelter. He was kind, patient, and made me laugh. There was no pretense with him, no hidden agendas. We just talked, really talked, and it felt easy. He made me feel seen, truly seen, for who I was now, not who I used to be. The scars of Liam's betrayal remained, of course.
They were a part of me now.
They were no longer gaping wounds, bleeding and painful. Instead, they were faint lines, reminders of my resilience, of the strength I never knew I possessed. They reminded me of what I had overcome, and what I would never tolerate again. I had transformed, not into a bitter, vengeful person, but into someone who understood the true meaning of moving on. I had found justice not in another's suffering, but in my own hard-won peace. The future stretched before me, filled with possibilities. There were still challenges, I knew, life wasn't suddenly perfect. But I faced them with a newfound clarity, with a quiet confidence that came from within. I had learned to trust myself again, to rebuild from the ashes. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly, completely, at home in myself.
Thank you for staying with me till the end.
Your voice matters, so leave a comment and let me know if you've lived something like this. Tap subscribe, and explore the other stories we've shared. They might just feel like your own.